Greetings, greetings, greetings to all of my loved ones. Welcome back to another episode of Healing Wisdom with me, your favorite, realist, and sexiest spiritual advisor, Empress Oracle. Okay, so y'all saw the topic. Before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that on behalf of Starseed Galactic Federation, I have been given access to this knowledgeable information from my Akashic records for the purpose of helping humanity. This information has been given directly to me as a divine channel, and any use and or reproduction of this information without the proper accreditation or acknowledgement from where it was received will result in instant karma for the plagiarizing parties and or individuals. And so it is. Now, today's topic we're going to talk about is, why do toxic people try to promote fear in a relationship? This is very true. I've been, my strange addiction way back when used to be toxic. Niggas. Not on purpose now, but everybody indulges in a little bit of toxicity at some point in their life. When you're young, it's thrilling. A lot of times, most of us girls, we like the bad boys and vice versa. Really, those are just toxic motherfuckers. Those are toxic people, okay? Because it gives you the adrenaline, right? It makes the endorphins just swell up and you just get all aroused and stuff because it's unusual. It's a walk on the wild side. However, a lot of times those type of intensely passionate relationships that start off that way, they turn out to be toxic. I know, right? Surprise. It's crazy. But a lot of times by that time, we're in too deep. And a lot of times when you're in a toxic relationship, by the time you realize that it's toxic to the point where it is unhealthy, that person has already established fear within you that makes it hard for you to want to leave them. And the reason why when you're in a toxic relationship, they establish fear is because on the other side of fear is what? Success. A relationship is only toxic when that person knows that they're not giving you the proper amount of reciprocity in the relationship. When they know that they're not pouring into you with love, when they're not giving you the same positive energy that you're giving them, that's what makes the relationship toxic. When it's one-sided, all right, or when there is an empath, a narcissistic dynamic, okay, where one person is just the giver and the other person is just a taker and there's no pouring into each other, those are things that make relationships toxic. Now, once you realize that you're in that pattern, because a lot of times people don't realize at first that they're in a toxic relationship because that adrenaline rush, that high, it feels so good. You're so busy putting your best foot forward for that person. By the time you realize that you're not receiving the same, you're already drained. Okay, and now if that person is good and toxic enough, they're going to try to beat down your emotions, your self-esteem, anything that would make you confident enough to walk away from them and pour that good energy into something or someone else. They can't have that, so they're gonna put fear into you. Now, they may try to induce fear into you in many types of ways. You have the people who they'll resort to straight up ass whoopings. Domestic violence is their thing. Okay, all right. They eat punches for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm not one of them people. You're not gonna put your hands on me. But a lot of people in toxic relationships, abuse is a way for their captors, I'm gonna call it, to instill fear in them. Because 9 times out of 10, when you're in a toxic relationship, one person is the source of light, and one person is the drain of that light. So they're not going to want you to go and give that light to somebody else. So they may try to slap you around. They may rough you up. They may, do little bits of sexual assaults, just to try to establish dominance over you so that you are afraid to leave them. You're afraid to leave that toxic environment. That's the number one thing that people in toxic relationships do. And you have to understand, as I said before, on the other side of that fear is a success. You have to take the proper steps to leave a toxic relationship. And when you say you are gone, stay gone. Stay gone. Because each time that you go back to a toxic relationship, all they're going to do is to try to instill more fear into you, more doubts into your head, brainwash you even more. And I'm going to tell you, fear can be crippling. Fear can be paralyzing. Fear can stop people from making the necessary moves to change their lives or even to save their lives. And that's why a lot of people use fear as a control tactic. And a lot of people are mental manipulators. That's what makes them toxic. So a lot of times you don't even realize that you're being manipulated at first. But if you pay attention to somebody's patterns in a relationship, you're going to know if it's toxic. How you know a relationship is toxic is if it starts off good, but give it a week or two, you're going back to the same argument, the same bullshit, the same fights. All right. Then they might act right just to get you to settle down, simmer down, but give it about 2 more weeks to a month and it's right back to the same thing. So therefore you're never having, now life itself is full of ups and downs, but the little seconds, moments of peace that life could afford you, those are being snatched away because you end up living your life on edge. You end up living your life in fear of when the next toxic cycle is going to start, when the next issue is going to come, when the next wave is going to come. While you're sitting here floating on this river of peace, you know a little bit down the waves is a fucking storm. That's toxic. That is a form of abuse. That's a form of mental abuse. And that is another way that toxic people establish fear into you, because then you're living your life on guard. You're not really relaxing, enjoying living your true life. That's something that we need to stop doing. You have to recognize the toxic cycles, recognize the toxic patterns, but at the end of the day, also, you have to love yourself more than you love the other person to be able to walk away and end the toxic cycles. Because I'm going to tell you something. The source of your fear is from that person. It's an illusion. Right? I don't know if you guys believe in God like I do, but whatever your source is, spirit, the universe, your ancestors, your spirit guides, whatever it is that tells you deep down that this is not right, this is toxic, and I need to walk away from it. Whatever that is, you trust in that source to help you to overcome your fear, right? You pray. The problem is people get fear instilled into them in toxic relationships, and because we get so caught up in the 3D in life, we forget to put our trust in God. We forget that that's the source of our faith, is from God. So when we're met with this toxicity and this fear, we don't have our source of our faith because we're busy focusing on the illusions of fear and toxicity that are in front of us, right? That's when you call on God. You have to call on God. You have to. The only way to overcome fear is faith. And faith comes from yourself. It comes from God. It comes from the universe. You have to believe in yourself. Sometimes you just have to make that initial step and God will provide the rest of the way for you. That's what people need to understand, right? Faith without works is dead, and fear is an illusion. And anybody or anything toxic to you, once they see that you're trying to do something to better yourself in any way, shape, or form, the first thing that they are going to try to do is to instill fear in you. Fear to stop you in your tracks. That's how you know that somebody is not for you. If the first thing you do, if you want to know if somebody is toxic, if you're in a toxic relationship, tell them an idea, not your best favorite idea, right? Because you don't want them to just shit on that dream, but tell them an idea or plan and see what is the first feeling that they try to instill in you. What is the first feeling that they try to emote from you, should I say, that they try to bring out of you? Is it fear? Is it joy? Is it hope? Is it happiness? As soon as you tell them your plans for something, do they immediately try to instill fear into you or make you feel as though you can't do it or you can't do it by yourself? That's how you know. Very simple. But the thing is, what I'm coming to see also is that denial is not just a river in Africa. It also resides in the U.S. of motherfucking A. Because a lot of y'all bitches is being in denial about this shit. And unfortunately, we're at the time now where we're in the final countdown. So if your angels, ancestors, and guides are showing you the telltale warning signs and you're not heeding it, eventually, what's going to happen? The same thing as when you move without a conscience doing bad things. You're going to be turned over to a reprobate mind, which means you will no longer hear that voice. You will no longer hear that guidance because you're basically telling the universe that's what you want. You like that toxic shit. You like living in fear. You like living on the edge of your seat. You know, and living like that, it manifests health problems. Okay? Internally, it leaves you unbalanced. Internally, it leaves you in dis-ease, which in turn can cause disease, illness, ailments, right? If you want fear-induced ailments, Fear-induced ailments, anxiety. A lot of people who suffer from anxiety, they didn't even get the anxiety on their own. Their anxiety originally originated from the people around them trying to instill fear in them, whether through energetic projection or through their words or their actions of disbelief in that person or whatever it is that they wanted to do. A lot of times, 9.5 times out of 10, that's how anxiety stems. That's where it stems from. So we need to understand these things. The source of these illnesses, the source of your fear, the source of your anxiety may be a toxic relationship. And I don't just mean like a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wife. Toxic relationship, that could be a work relationship. That could be your crew you've been hanging with since 10th grade, right? That could be your family members. That could be toxic to you. But it's up to you to know when you have to have more faith than fear and move away and do what's best for you. And that's what seems hardest for a lot of people to do. But remember, guys, on the other side of fear is success. And if you take that leap, you have to know that your angels and your guides, they will catch you. You will not fall. You will fly. You have to believe in yourself and remove that fear and remove any toxic person out of your environment so it can be conducive to your health, your happiness, and you living your highest good. Now, while you're doing that, you may need some items to help you out. And you already know I got those on deck at my Etsy shop, Empress Oracle Shop. I would love you to check me out. There I do custom orders for crystals. I have descriptions on all the uses for the crystals. You need evil eye protection, I got that for you, baby. Unisex. I have butters, bath salts, everything you need to clear your path, to increase your faith, and to remove your fear. You can find on my shop on Etsy at Empress Oracle Shop. This message helped you out. I'd appreciate if you like it and share. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your week. I love you all.